Today is Tuesday, August 23rd, 2022. And again, I haven't been updating for a little while. I've been distracted over the last week or so on non-beekeeping stuff. And that's all I'm going to say about it is just other life things. No big disasters, nothing. It's just stuff that's taken me away from my job. I should have been started my harvest already, setting escapes and pulling some honey. Other people have booked up my time for, well, it's going to take almost 2 weeks out of my harvest schedule, and I'm not happy about that. I got to be honest, I'm not happy about that at all. This seems to be a habit with those who don't understand farming, I suppose. But I guess I have to put my foot down a little more and just say, nope, it's not going to happen. And I think I have to, because I can't compromise my year's work when it finally comes down to the very end of what you've worked for, which is harvesting the honey. And you can't compromise that. I think that's foolish. It's harvest, like anything else. Harvest is when you got to really, one last big push. And I mean, that's not the end of the season, because again, you have to prep the bees for wintering. That's when your next honey harvest starts, kind of thing, prepping for that. So that's just where I'm at. You might be able to hear the stress in my voice, because I'm very, very stressed out about this whole thing. I want to start setting escapes. I can't, because other people have booked my time over the next 6 to 7 days. And so that's going to wait. And I will be making video when I do set escapes and when I do my harvest, which hopefully won't be too long. So the beekeeping season, as far as I see it, the beekeeping season is winding down. I'm not grafting anymore. I'm not making any more splits. The things that I can do are becoming fewer and fewer. What I have is what I have. Colonies and nukes, looking at about 148 here right now. And all I've really done lately is I came out with my wife, and we kind of have fun working together, and I love when she comes out and helps me with little projects. And all we did was we took all of the nukes and we just added a pollen patty to those, just so that they have what they need to build that winter nest. We'll build a winter cluster and subsequently winter nest later on. And I neglected to add patties to a few actually singles that I have out here, so I thought I'd drop out today and do this, and because I have time, and this is the kind of the root of my angst right now is I'm waiting for the days that I'm going to be torn away from this, and I want to be putting bee escapes on. I want to be starting my harvest. I can't do that yet. So I have time right now, and I want to be doing this, but I can't. So I have to wait. And there's a couple little tasks I need to do. I can always clean up. Things get to be such a mess. I can always clean up. He's got these boxes sitting here. I could put those over on the pallet with the rest and that sort of thing. So there's always things. So what I think I'll do is I'm going to add some patties to these singles that I neglected. I think there's about 6 of them, and I'll take you along. There's something to look at. So thanks for watching, and hope you enjoy this. Okay, this is 4 singles. I haven't even really looked at these hardly. I made them up. They are grafted queens. And I think the only reason they're in these 10 frame boxes is I ran out of 6s. So let's have a look. Looks good so far. It's not the greatest day for working bees, so I have to be careful. Well, that's a box of bees. Holy smokes. Nothing wrong with that. I'm going to sit down and go through these. I haven't seen in them. Check their progress. This one looks pretty good. Didn't get that many grafted queens this year, but the ones I got seem to do okay. There's absolutely 100% of nothing in that frame. And there is nectar and eggs in that frame. Quite a few eggs. A little bit of honey at the top too. So they are stretching out. I'll start to feed them here well, I'll be right at harvest time, right after harvest. So another week to 10 days, probably more like 10 days or more. At least 10 days. And there's my queen. A nice homegrown root beer queen. And that's a competitive advantage mark that was put on her as a virgin. And it looks as good as the day I put it on her. And she is laying like a champ here. She's making drones like crazy. These new queens, they lay really hard into the spring, into the fall. Make a nice winter cluster. There's a merged brood, and it's laid up with eggs in the center. They're not overwhelmed with incoming nectar, which I'm not surprised. You can tell when you look in the cell with the young larva how much jelly is in there. If it's swimming in a nice pool, that's what you want to see. Look at that nice sealed brood here. However, if there's not that much jelly in there, then they're definitely in need. That's all I want to see. I'm happy with that. I'm not sure how far out here she'll move, but she's there right now, so she could. Now, this is it's called a global patty. It's 15% real pollen in these, and they have a really strong following. So I thought, this is my first year using them. I normally use Ultra Bee. Been happy with it. It's actually a Canadian-made product. It's global. It has, like I say, a strong following. So now it's something I just did. I normally don't do, because normally I'm feeding a pail at the same time. That patty is completely blocking access to the feed hole, and that's okay. I'll address that. If it's still there when I put the pail on, I just stick the hive tool through and make a passage for the bees. I'll come around and check this one. Yeah, in my angst, in my stress, this is good for me right here. Come and work the bees a little bit, even though I really don't have to, you know. It's kind of one last time. My heart is heavy, you know. Every year my heart gets heavy because I love working with the bees. And it's just a long time before I get to do it again. It's just so beautiful. Look at this. It's just gorgeous. I don't want bees on the foamy when I put the patty on and then they get stuck in there. Well, that's heavy. Wow. They're actually capping that on the outside frame. There's a little bit of sealed brood here. And lots of sealed brood on the other side. Oh boy, that's nice. So this one definitely is farther ahead of that one. They're beautiful, just beautiful. Eggs there. Pollen, eggs. Oh, it's beautiful, just beautiful. Yeah, this was the right thing to do today. I'm very stressed and just come and commune with my girls. Lots of bee bread in here. There's pollen. I always like to check the cups to see what they're thinking. Okay, yeah, lots of brood. Lots of brood. I'm very happy. This is, you know, this is a brand new colony. This is a baby. This is a adolescent, perhaps, that I made this year. I made that queen. I grafted and I made that queen. I started them off with a little bit of brood from another hive and put that mated queen in here, and you know, that was likely 6 weeks ago or more, and so she's had 2 rounds of brood. Her second round of brood would be emerging now. So this is the result. These are the new bees. These are the bees that are the product of that little graft. Pulling that larva out of that cell. Pull that larva out of that cell and treat it properly, and this is what happens. This is what happens. This was a frame that I waxed. I can tell by the color of the wax. I can kind of tell by the frame. It was new foundation. I spread a nice coating of wax on it last fall, and the bees, when they hit that wax, they just draw it out immediately. Dearth or not, the wax is there, they pull it out. And that is, it's the first time I'd done that. Last year was the first time I had waxed frames, and man, I'm a believer. I'm a believer. And you know, it's not cheap. It costs me a good 50 cents in wax per frame. And I put it on a little bit thick, so you could get away with less than that. But you know, that box is crooked. But you know, oh, I put a patty. Cost me about 50 cents per frame. But and that's judging by when I sell wax in, you know, in the fall or in the winter. I sell wax, so that's going by that price. I can wax about 10 frames per pound. That's how that works out. So but it's not an expense. It doesn't cost me anything, because all of that wax comes back, you know, at honey harvest time when I take those frames and I uncap them, I get that wax back because the bees didn't have to produce that wax. Boy, there's something wrong with this box. It's flush on this side, and it's 3/4 of an inch in on this side. That is I don't know, my lids aren't that crooked. I think I backed over that box one day. Oh yeah, definitely, because the box is flush with the front of the pallet over on this side, so it's definitely crooked. Oh well, it does the job. It just sounds like a waterfall here. The fanning, it's incredible. Okay, what do we got in this one? Well, there's bees there. Put this patty out so I remember. They're a little sticky. A little bit sticky. Everything in beekeeping is sticky though, isn't it? Okay. This one's not quite as far along. Check it out anyway. Let's see what's going on. I think these were waxed frames too. My wife just shakes her head when I say stuff. Oh yeah, this frame, and I'll tell her the history on this frame because I remember that, this frame. I don't know why I do, but she'll say, you got like 10,000 frames and you remember this frame. And there is some nectar in this, the inside of this frame. And that's all. But that's more than what was going on the outside frame of that first colony I checked. What's going on here? That's full of eggs. Wow, and is it? That's probably 2/3, 3/4 full of eggs, and a nice sealed brood on this side, and larvae on the outside of that. I don't have to keep looking, but I want to. Today is what I want to. Look at that. It's just beautiful. Those poor drones, they're going to emerge and the workers are going to kick them out right away. Get out of here. We don't need you. We don't need your kind. Some pollen pants there, that's nice. A little bit of pollen source. There's my queen, and I believe that's a Posca mark on this queen. But I'm not prepared to remark queens right now. Look at that nice frame of brood here. There's pollen, there's bee bread, there's honey, eggs. This nest. This nest is really big. Sealed brood on both sides of that. That's these new queens. You get these young queens and they lay like crazy right into the fall. That's full of larvae of all stages, and some eggs. Same thing there. Wow. This has really brightened up my day. So glad I came to do this. I was just going to throw patties on too. And I thought, you know, I'll take you guys with me. And I thought then, well, why don't I sit down and enjoy my bees. Sealed brood here. That wasn't a very well drawn frame yet. And sealed brood there. Larva, eggs. That's gorgeous. Okay, so what do we got next? Do we have honey next? I know we have some honey here, but there's still, yeah, so that has some honey at the top. There's no eggs brood of any kind in that. So good, they're putting up a couple of frames of stores there. Not all forage is appropriate for winter stores in this part of the world. Our bees get no cleansing flights over the winter. They'll be in that hive for 5 months. Particularly when wintering indoors. If they're wintering outdoors, they have possibly an off chance of a cleansing flight, but not for many months, like maybe in February. But these girls won't, you know, between say the 1st of, it could be middle October. You know, they'll go in for the last time by the middle of October to the 1st of November, and they won't come out of the hive again until at least March, maybe April. So that's a long time without a poop. That's why we have to feed pure sucrose for winter stores. What I really love here, but what I'm seeing, these 4 colonies, is a consistency. You know, they're pretty consistent. This is probably the weakest of the 4, but they're, you know, they're all doing what they should be doing. Oh, I think that was a wax moth worm. Let's see. Usually I don't have wax moth worms in a living hive. See, that's a waxed frame, and they just drew that out. That's not drawn on a flow. That's just drawn out from what they had on the frame. Yeah, see, this one is very different. I was talking about consistency. This is definitely the farthest behind because they're filling all of the drone cells and all of the worker size cells in the story frame on they're drawing or filling that all with honey, nectar and honey. You know, which is not going to mean that they're not going to make winter. But they do have a little farther to go. Okay, pollen pants. Sealed brood there. Quite a bit of nectar and honey. It's fairly heavy. Sealed brood there, and there's my queen. Isn't it interesting that all 4 of these hives, I think I've seen 4 queens. The queen is on the first 3 frames. I've noticed that in my apiary. I can go through my apiary and 80% of my queens are within the, a couple of frames. Sometimes I'll go through them all and all the queens are back here, and sometimes I go through them and the queens are all up here. Or it's quite remarkable how consistent that is. There's some eggs and emerged cells. I won't say she's as prolific, of course. You can tell the population isn't as strong. And at this time of year, I think she is responsible because the weather is warm enough. She should be able to keep up. So it looks like the bulk of the nest is over here, which you can kind of tell, all the bees there. So just put them right back there. They'll just keep working this way. Give them this tasty patty. I think they think it's tasty. I've never tasted it, so I don't know. It's sticky. Okay. Patty is an indicator of brooding too. Just need to push those down a bit. If I come back here to a colony, and I know I've queen checked this and everything, so it's fine. But if I'm not doing this and I put a patty on, and I come back here in, say, a week, and I open this up and they haven't really touched that patty, then they're not brooding, because they don't store it. They don't store that patty in the comb. If they don't need to consume it for brood, they don't eat it. That's a rule. Okay, I want to check this one because I've marked it queenless. QL exclamation mark. Fully insulated all the way around too. Yeah, I don't like the feel of that. Leave those too long, there's nothing left of them. They sound queenless for sure. Well, there's sealed brood. And that was it. So they are right on the edge here. Right on the edge of probably laying worker territory. Okay, I'm going to put that back together and I'm making a plan in my head. What I have is I have my last 5. Oh, and I got stung in the arm is what I have. Holy smokes. Have my last 5 mated queens over in the wings. The wings, get it? And another thing my wife and I did Sunday, we checked those, and at least 3 of them are laying. So I'm going to leave this open. I'm thinking maybe I'll try a newspaper combine, put that nuke on top of here, and let them chew the way through. Spray everybody good with that. It's a sugar syrup, but it's also got Pro Health in it. It's like a Honeybee Healthy kind of a thing, and we'll just let them do that. Okay, I don't do this very often, so you comment, and if I'm doing it wrong, tell me what I'm doing wrong. It goes crazy. I'll give him a good dose. Make them forget about their pheromones. Of course, they don't have any queen pheromone. They don't have queen. This on here. I'm gonna spray the paper a bit. And I'm gonna put this box. Once she's integrated here, then I'll consolidate this into one box again for winter. Hopefully that works. Again, you find a flaw in my logic or my methods, you let me know. I don't do combines very often. Try to avoid them, actually. I find it a bit of a bother. All this, go get the newspaper and the sprayer, blah blah blah. You can see my earlier videos, I usually just cage the queen. But we have seen that doesn't always work. So that's not really drawn. I'm not concerned with that. Because it's coming out of there before long. I'm going to have 20 frames to choose from here. I did check these 2 days ago, and I saw my nice big queen walking around. Actually, they weren't that big, but she seemed to be doing a good job. There she is. She's actually not that big. She's a little black one. But she's got the idea. So this colony is doomed without her. So they are no worse off with her. All right. Another problem solver to the rescue. I love these Pro nukes. Okay, 5 more frames. I got some right over here. And again, she won't likely... Crickets. Crickets everywhere. She won't likely need all 5. I just want to fill the box, of course. I always want to fill the box. Don't fill the box. You're asking for problems. And if she wants, I'll put the drawn comb in here. Oh, yeah, maybe. Beside her. This one seems like it's drawn better than those. Put that in here. Bottom part of this doesn't need patty because I got no queen. Top part should be able to use it. Got that little black queen. Hopefully she's gonna keep it up. Make it happen. fussing with that patty. I got stung in the finger. Okay. And I don't really have to make a note on the fact that this was a combine, because it's got newspaper sticking out of it. I'll rub out the queenless mark. Again, I don't do many combines, so I'll remember that I've done a combine, because it's unusual for me. And there's newspaper sticking out, so I'll know which one for sure. There's another couple of singles over here I want to get some patties on. This was a requeen. I don't know. I put this is a grafted queen in here. Population looks good. Just give everybody a little something to think about. Oh yeah, look at them go. See, Ian's finishing up his harvest. He's going to start pushing bees down soon. That's a big milestone in the year. Take all the honey off and put all those big colonies down to singles. Talking to a friend yesterday, I was referring to, and I try not to brag about it because it's not, it's just a progression of beekeeping. I haven't been at this very many years. I think there's eggs in that. It's the outside frame. Goodness. Talking about my progression in beekeeping. I think he's been keeping bees, you know, a similar length of time. Which, for me, this is my 8th season. So not very long. And just talking about, you know, how last season I ended up getting away from the gloves. I haven't really worn gloves more than maybe twice in a year. I've been wearing shorts for years, so that was, I guess, one of the first things. I never did really wear a suit, mostly because suits aren't made for big fellas. They don't fit very well. Well, whatever's laying brood in here is doing just fine. That is right chock full of larvae. And you know, I got to the point, I said, well, even this year I shed the jacket, and I haven't been wearing a jacket, even just a veil. And he said something like, he said, oh, I don't have time to work like that, you know. And you know, he very good point, that the more time you have, or the less time you have, the less time you think you have, the more PPE you got to wear. Because I do know that I have to work kind of slowly here. This is looking really nice. And again, I'm just having a good time with my bees today. Oh my goodness. That's a story frame. That is laid workers in the center. Actually, they've laid workers past the dividing line between the foundationless here. Pretty sure anyway, because that goes to there. And there's, yeah, a few, not very many, but a little bit. That's gorgeous. That's so beautiful. There's a dark honey coming in. I don't know what it is. Is goldenrod a darker honey? There's more goldenrod right now. So maybe somebody can answer that for me. What color is goldenrod? Oh, there it is. Okay, so I get a honey every year, and I can't even show it to you. I don't know if you can even see where this nectar is shining. Every year I get a little bit of honey. It's not, I never harvest it, I don't think, because it doesn't come in early enough and it doesn't come in strong enough, but it definitely comes in strong enough for me to see it. It's green. It's almost fluorescent. And it's consistent. I think I've seen it every year. I just see it for a few weeks around this time. Not even a few weeks, I don't think. Maybe a couple of weeks. Yeah, she has got it on here. She's doing her thing. She is going to be ready for winter. That's for sure. Way to go. Good job. Good job. Okay. I need some good news. It was a hard summer. I mean, the weather this spring would not give us a break. My queen rearing was difficult. My OTS was almost a complete failure, which I don't get. That's a really good program. So, to see this kind of thing really makes me happy. These things stick together really bad. Okay. Get one out on there. Remember that swarm I've been moving every day? Not quite every day, but almost. Well, I've got it here. I'm fixing to get it in that spot. So it's probably going to take me 2 days yet. I'm going to get it turned around, and then I can move it. So I'm going to give it a little bit of a turn here, hopefully. This box is screwed to the bottom board, so I can get away with lifting it like that. So my next move should be able to go all the way onto the stand, except I don't really want it in that box. It's a 3/4 inch box, and I'd rather have it in a 7/8 box. Actually, let's check under some honey super lids here. These things are all over the place. I've been moving boxes so much, and ooh, I can get my smoker. I've been moving frames and supers and all kinds of things. That's the drones. That's the drones flying away. The drones can't get out because they can't get through the queen excluder. You pull the lid and they go, oh, we can fly now. Because there's nothing in that box. That is an empty box foundation. Yeah, there's nothing there. I'm gonna tip that up here. This one's full, so that's 2 deeps of honey. And you know, I'll show you what I'm seeing. This reminds me of something that I hear people get talked into, and they parrot stuff that people tell them, and I guess it's reasonable because they have no first-hand experience to really be able to make their own mind up. But they talk about how, oh, you can't use Langstroth box because you don't want to lift those heavy boxes. Well, don't lift the heavy boxes then, lift the frames. You know, and they say, well, I gotta use a horizontal hive because I don't want to lift the heavy boxes. Well, horizontal hive, you lift each frame, right? You take each frame. We'll do the same thing. It's no different. Bees like to, and besides, bees like to go up, not sideways so much. Horizontals don't winter very well at all in this part of the world. But regardless, I'm 100% on board with people. You want to use this kind of equipment or that kind, but don't give me BS reasons for it. You know, here you can hardly see me. Okay, so here's a nice nice honey deep. There's a bit of nectar on that side, but they're certainly not capping. Anyway, yeah, I mean, you know, make your choices and make your decisions, and that's all good. However, don't just make up nonsensical reasons. You insult my intelligence when you do that, and I don't care for that. See, this is what we're looking for. This is what we're looking for. So it'll be a little while before I come and get this. As much as I wish that was not the case, that is the case. I'll leave this up here for the bees to exit. Let's look at this little medium here. Hopefully they drew that out. Nope. Nope. It's bare as the day they got the box, so it'll come off too. There's no wax in there for the wax moths to bother. It won't be there that long anyway, maybe a day. Same kind of thing, mostly capped. So this one again has yielded 2 deeps, and the context of that is I'll average 3 deeps per colony, which is pretty low by a lot of standards. You know, my average yield is 100 pounds, which is a crop failure to most people around here. The same thing, foundation only. Take them off now, I don't have to deal with them at harvest time. That deep is nicely filled. This one is better news. I've looked in this one recently and it's full. If I remember correctly. Yes, it is. She is full. Okay, so that gave me 2 deeps and a medium on that one. I've got a medium under this deep, so I'd like to see the mediums. Trying to draw the mediums for a friend. Trying to expand their operation. And drawn comb is always such a difficult, having no drawn comb is a difficult situation. Boy, this deep is even scarce. I don't think there's anything. See, this was bare foundation, and they've not really capitalized on it. A little bit here, but barely drawn, eh? See, barely drawn here. Yeah, I'd like to see the medium though. Let's lift this off. Okay, well, I can see now that medium's right full. Right on. Okay, I'll leave this deep here. It'll make its way into the honey house, and then what I'll do, I started doing this last year, worked out really well, is as I harvest, as I extract, I sort my boxes, I sort my frames into different categories, and one of those categories is frames that aren't drawn at all or not completely. So even if there's a little patch of undrawn comb, I will I'll put that aside, and then after I'm done harvest, I'll re-wax all that. And once that framer is re-waxed, they will jump on that right away next season. This one is empty as well. This one's full, except I put a foundation frame in the middle which isn't touched. Okay, so some of these don't look, that's a deep and a medium, so you know, the harvest is not going to be a record one this year. I have faith that I will get what I need, and I will be happy to have such. So I'm just going to clean up here a bit, commune with my apiary a little while, soothe my anxious spirit, and then that's it. So I'm gonna leave this with this much of a video for this week. I'm not going to add to it, and hopefully you had a good week, and I think I'll have a good week. It'll be an enjoyable week, besides the anxiety of postponing my harvest. I know I'll have a good time. So my next videos should be setting bee escapes and pulling honey, and then maybe some extracting. So as usual, stay safe and have fun.